Hello, and welcome to Parenting Roundabout. I'm Nicole, and it's my turn to pick some flashbacks for you this week. Today's group chat originally aired in January 2018, and I'll have some fun speed round reruns later in the week. But Catherine and Terri will also be back tomorrow with a brand new round 2. And next week, we're back to new episodes every week.
Ridiculous. Well, here's the thing.
Maybe. Sometimes.
Tell me about this. I want to know more.
Oh, yeah. No.
Holy cow.
We've had a lot of fun.
So, Catherine, I kept myself entertained yesterday by following your bus trip to Wichita, was it? Was it yesterday or the day before? I'm losing track of time.
Yes, the world's largest truck stop in Walcott, Iowa on I-80.
Yes. Wow.
Where not only can you eat a buffet meal, or you can just go to like Taco Bell. They have a dentist, a chiropractor.
Ooh. No way.
Yeah. They have all these services available to truck drivers. So, yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
Showers, a barber, a laundromat.
That's cool.
So, all those things, in case you need.
You could just, like, hang there. It's like a resort.
I know. Exactly. And what's kind of funny is that I did see several people in the, like, food court area with home-packed lunches.
Aww.
Which I thought was kind of cute. Like they were like, no, I'm not going to eat like, Taco Bell every day that I'm on the road. They had their own little lunch. So
now, but what was most amusing is that it had a wide selection of souvenirs, particular types of souvenirs.
Well, they had souvenirs, and they also had like everything in the world that you would need to just really trick out your semi with all kinds of flashing lights and other LED type things. They had like a huge selection of gear shift knobs that you could, replace the manufacturer boring one with something interesting.
I think that was for the steering wheel, so you could just use one hand and, just...
Oh, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, and I learned from one of my fellow skating moms that there's a whole, like, I don't know if you'd call it a hobby or a sport or what, but it's called truck shining, where they, really pimp out their trucks to make to make them look really special and fancy. And there's, like, competitions. So if you find yourself in need of anything to make your truck extra shiny, this is where you could go. Like they have those like shiny exhaust pipes, those like vertical exhaust pipes. They have like a whole aisle full of those. And
so it's not just the mud flaps with the naked woman image on them.
No, but I bet they have those, and they have the sheepskins, for sitting on.
Nice.
Like I said, all the lights. They had a whole semi, like a cab inside. Well, two of them inside the place for photo ops with your skaters.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes, so it was something special.
And then you also watched Ice Castles on the trip. Very fitting.
Yes, although it turned out to be like the sort of early 2000s remake. Like it wasn't...
Oh, not the original?
I didn't realize when it first started that it was not the original. It was a remake. I mean, it was the same story. It was everything the same,
Yeah.
She goes blind, blah, blah, blah. But it was they had cell phones. And so you could tell.
Not the same.
It was a little bit more advanced in the future.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
But not what you remembered.
Are we going to get entertainment on the way back, or will it just be similar scenery, or...
Well, I mean, we're taking the same way back, and I'm pretty sure we're stopping at the truck stop again. because, we wouldn't want to miss a chance to go back to the truck stop.
Oh,
No.
But it was funny
you have
because
to get us souvenirs, Catherine.
on one of my pictures, I captioned it like "still in Iowa" because that is a long state, it turns out.
Yes.
And a friend of mine who used to live there left me a comment, and he said, "I think that's the state like tourism motto: still in Iowa."
Not a lot of variation in the landscape there, is there?
I just did not expect it to take like 5 hours to get across. I don't know.
Which is why truck drivers need to trick out their trucks. Because
Exactly.
there's a lot of Iowa ahead of them down the road.
Yeah, and they get to think about all the fancy things they're going to do. See, Catherine, this is what you need to do now on your way back is dream and imagine how you're going to trick out your car.
Right.
And when you stop,
When
you
I
can
stop,
go
I can
shopping.
load up. Exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's think how we want to trick out this podcast. Maybe we
Yes.
need a few more flashing lights and bells and whistles to get the folks to listen.
Yeah.
So tweet us what you think we should add to the podcast that would catch your attention, what shiny thing we could add. But for now, we just have to say hello and welcome to Parenting Roundabout, a weekly podcast about the things that parents are talking about, obsessing about, and complaining about right now. I'm Terri Morrow, and with me today are Catherine Haleko.
Hello, coming to you from Wichita right now.
Hey. And Nicole Erdix.
Hello.
Coming to us, as usual, from Southern California.
Yes.
I am
as
stuck here in New
always.
Jersey with the flu. So today on the podcast, we're going to talk about packing for trips on our speed round, for those of us who get to travel. Shout out some stuff we like on the Roundabout Roundup and do some shameless self-promotion. But first, we'll hear something buzzy for us to trick out our podcast with. A buzzword of parenting these days, resilience. What actually does that even all mean, Catherine? Can you pose with it at the truck stop?
That's what we wanted to talk about, was how would you define resilience for your kids and maybe for yourself too? I think adults probably need resilience. And how do you encourage it? I mean, is it all about just helping kids learn how to suck it up when things are bad, or is there a better approach, a different approach? So, Nicole, have you been doing a little reading about this, or just thinking?
Well,
or not
it's
necessarily?
It's definitely a buzzword in the education world because, we talk about building character in kids and teaching them to be confident and speak up. And, this also talks about bullying. So the big word is resilience, teaching kids how to be resilient and to kind of, I guess, I don't even know how to explain it.
Define it in 10 words or less. Oh, educated.
Because
how to bounce back from difficult things?
Yeah. And so, as you had mentioned earlier, in my day and age, the way we were taught resilience was we were told to suck it up, deal with it, and we weren't given really any strategies or any other words of advice, or it was just kind of like, get over it, right? And I'm not sure that was the best advice, because I personally, there's been some long-term kind of side effects from that. Yeah. And so it's interesting now because my daughter, who's 17, is going through a little bit of a rough time. It's been 4 or 5 months now, but and we're trying to really kind of build her self-esteem back up, because she's just been so incredibly low for a long time, just due to outside influences. And so, and I really, I'm so, and, her brother and her dad are like, well, come on, get over it. Let's move on. And right. And
that's so useful.
Isn't it? And in the meantime, I'm thinking about this word resilience, and I'm trying to come up with other ways of helping her feel stronger, and not just kind of look stronger, but actually feel it. And and feel good about herself and want to be more confident and display more confidence as opposed to just, that fake it till you make it thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, so her dad and I really aren't on the same page yet with that. He's not up on his buzzwords.
Do you like
parenting?
Smack him in the head every now and then when he gives her his good advice?
Oh, it's the whole 9 yards. It's the glare. It's the kick on the leg. It's the
we have a lot of that at our house too. Maybe it's a guy thing.
Throat clearing and then he knows to shut up. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
So especially with my daughter,
I can't say anything.
Yeah, I know, right? And so especially with my daughter, it's tough. And I, but part of me is like, okay, well, there's the school of hard knocks, and then there's part of me that's like, come on, we can do better than that, because let's face it, if you grew up with the school of hard knocks, you're on a lot of medication as an adult. So let's do better. Let's develop emotionally healthier kids.
But have you found a way to do it that does not involve that?
That is not involved. Other than ensuring that she has a good health plan when she gets older.
I mean, we know what we think doesn't work, but what do you do instead?
I know so we have
join me in this dark room, honey, and put a washcloth over your face.
Because that's how I cope with things.
I know.
So I'm like, I don't live what I, preach,
your resilience is that eventually you come out of the room.
Yeah. My resilience is to the warm towel turning cold. But no, so I'm trying to... Yeah, it's kind of like do what I say, not what I do. But I'm really trying to have a lot of conversations with her and give her examples and provide strategies. Conversations that I didn't necessarily have or get. So it's hard. And to be honest with you, I think what we'll eventually do is end up, seeking out a therapist that can also support with strategies. Because let's face it, I'm not the professional here.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I feel like do you guys have a different approach?
My experience, therapists aren't really on the strategy sort of plane of things. They are in the I will just listen to you talk. So you come home. Yeah. Well, what did she tell you to do? Oh, she didn't really tell me. She doesn't really ever tell me what to do. Can she tell you what to do? I'm paying her a lot of money.
Although
I want a list.
I will say, I had an experience where one of my kids needed a therapist for a specific issue, and because this child was having some like compulsive behaviors, and the therapist really did like a behavior modification thing, like here are
that's nice.
Here are 5 behaviors you are going to the child had to help come up with a list of these are the behaviors I want to stop, and these are good behaviors that I want to keep doing or add, and so there would be a list of like 5 of each for a week. And there was a point system, and, there were rewards associated with it. And that was it. Like, I was like, are we going to talk about like the root cause of why this is happening? Nope. We were not doing that at all. We were only...
So apparently you can get one or the other.
Right. We were only extinguishing the behavior, which happened, so that was good news. But I admit to being quite surprised as to the method. I really thought there would be some sort of digging into why this was going on. But, it worked, and the behavior stopped and has not come back. So that's good.
So it was a success in that sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can get marching orders or you can get deep dives, but you can't get both.
Marching orders or deep dives.
I kind of would like marching orders. Maybe I should talk and see if we can switch to the other plan. But resilience.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that in general, sports can be a way to deal with to add this,
because you get to learn how to lose.
Yeah, you have to
still wake up the next morning.
Right. You have to lose, and it's funny because some of the videos that we have of my daughter skating, the ones where she's fallen or where her team like really screwed up, she watches. She's like, I think it's funny. I watch it a lot. Like I was a couple years ago, several years ago, her team made it to nationals and they were doing so well and they really had a chance to perform, you know, to place at nationals. And then they just had a horrible skate and they just, it was like a train wreck. Like it was it was really bad. And they, you know, of course they didn't do well. But yet years later, she happened to mention how she watches that video regularly. I'm like, why would you do that? Okay, well, if you want, I guess that's fine. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they do a better job than us overall. So whatever we're doing, I think is somewhat okay.
So we should be having this conversation with the kids. So
yeah.
I don't know.
So
I mean, it's definitely
your moms.
with, especially I think with my son. You know, he struggles with it. He gets frustrated with himself very quickly and easily. And that's something we are always working on. Whereas my daughter is more the type that will just, you know, she gets a bee in her bonnet to do something, she's going to do it. And she will fail a bunch of times until she gets there. And I don't think that that's anything that I did, you know, because the other kid is totally the opposite, right? Like,
right.
You know, if something doesn't work, you know, the one single math problem is giving him trouble. He breaks the pencil and throws it, and you know, So with him, it's a lot of like, we're going to work on this for 10 minutes, then we're going to take a break, then we're going to get back to it. And I don't know, I'm still working on finding ways to build the confidence that I think it's related to confidence, you know?
Yeah.
To have the confidence in yourself that if you failed once, that's not the end of it.
Yeah. That's an important point though, as we like say all the time here. Kids are all different. People are all different. There's I think that there's just a personality or just some people are resilient and some people aren't. If you're a person who's resilient, you can't understand how anybody could be otherwise. And that's where the sort of suck it up school of it comes because look, I'm able to do this. What's your problem? But some people just, that's not in their makeup. They're always going to take these things harder. They're always going to struggle with it. And you can philosophize at them all you want, and it's not going to make any difference. They're still going to feel crummy. And if you have a parental mismatch, that, as I think we see Nicole and I with our husbands, you know, they're not going to get that it's harder for some people. And I mean, I have always felt my kids were really resilient. Certainly their early life was a model of resilience, you know, spending their early days in the orphanage and then coming here. And I've always been the biggest cheerleader for their resilience. But, you know, I think back now and I pushed my daughter into a lot of stuff with, you can do it. And if it's hard, just keep trying. And everybody fails sometimes and there's no problem. And now she's having some problems in her young adulthood that I think are probably from me pushing her too dang much, you know? Not everybody just picks up and is able to do stuff, you know? And kids will do what you say because you're mom and dad, but sometimes it eats at them. So when it comes, you know, when I see all these stories on teach your kid resilience, I'm like, well, you might be able to force your kid to be resilient, but it's going to come back and bite you. Or maybe you won't at all. And then your child will always think that you misunderstand them. You know, my daughter has heard the lectures from her father so many times and just doesn't want to hear it anymore. It's not that easy for some people, is it? I mean, is there any one human quality that we can declare that everybody can master successfely?
I don't
that
think
if they
so.
don't, it's the parent's fault?
Right.
Because
parenting writing these days certainly seems to think so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're a lot more resilient than I.
Because I feel like it really depends on the child's personality.
It does.
I mean,
Right.
and you can't,
It's
you can have a certain influence over it, but in the end, they're going to be who they are and
Yeah.
feel how they feel. Like, I mean, growing up, I had that very much like, that parenting approach of, get over it, it'll get better, this will pass, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were certain situations that I either put myself into or I was in, and it was really, really hard and super tough. And I came out of it like with some pretty deep emotional scars. And, I would have never done that to my kid, like knowing if my child had my personality, I would have not encouraged my child to do that. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I know that my parents did the best that they can with the knowledge that they had.
Right.
But, I don't know. I just feel like we know better these days. And so maybe we need to be more aware of kids' personalities before we push this whole grow up and deal with it kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly don't want to tell your kid that's okay. You can just lay down and give up every time something's a little hard. But maybe we need to think more about what each kid needs and what their particular emotional makeup is. And maybe it's a matter of talking to them more when things are difficult, or giving them more time, or finding things that work for them.
Yeah.
Right.
And not expecting everybody to just jump up.
Right.
Maybe whether it's therapy or whether it's just, hey, here's a song that makes you feel better, or, let's sit down and talk about what you want to do now. Certainly with the homework, as you've done, Catherine, spacing things out so that it doesn't get to that point every time. I don't know if that's enabling or what, but maybe it will help the kid find out. I mean, there's all different ways to be resilient, I think. And maybe one of the ways is knowing what you need to do to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's
that's a really good point. I mean, I was reading, I can't remember, I don't know, I think it was like a quote from Grey's Anatomy or something.
Those are some resilient people on that show, because man, they have been through everything.
Through the ringer.
some quality inspirational quote from Grey's Anatomy was something like, "I will not apologize for how I kind of got over this situation, or how I
got through it.
What I did to get through this situation. I will not apologize for that, because that's, I did what I did because that's who I am," kind of thing. And that's kind of that kind of struck me because, like I said, I was brought up with this whole, like, come on, get up, let's get going, move on, like, walk it off. Mm-hmm. And I was not ever really allowed time to sit with it and process it. And so I think now with my daughter, I allow her that time a little bit more to sit and process it and think about it. And then it's like, okay, are you ready to move on? Let's go.
Right. Yeah. Even though you're sitting there thinking, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? OMG, are you done yet?
Yeah.
That's might be something to think about. I mean, it's going to be different. There's some kids you wouldn't want to do that with, but you have to know your kid, and each of your kids may be different and need something different.
Right.
Of course, we haven't necessarily even learned how to do this for ourselves. So
exactly. I'm such a pro.
Do as mommy says, not as mommy does. But I resent the certainty that there's only one, or that there's an easy way to do that for everybody.
Yeah, that's just,
because if there is, then I'm a crappy parent for not having done it in the first place.
Yeah, that's just not fair.
Yeah.
No.
Well, let's resiliently bounce into our next topic.
Yeah.
Yes.
We will get past our failure to have nailed this down. And
it's no different than anything else we've ever tried to nail down.
This is your parenting podcast that always ends up with, we don't know.
Yeah.
The most honest parenting podcast you will ever listen to.
That's right.
You appreciate our honesty, if not our advice.
So this next topic, our speed round, is actually very timely for me because it's a combination of resilience and independence. My daughter is going away for a week. She's flying up to Canada on her own. And she has to make several separate flights when she's there. So she's going, she's staying in one spot and then flying to another spot to see her other set of grandparents. So, I'm trying to build her resiliency before the trip, her confidence to do this alone. And so this actually also fits in because as we're preparing her for her trip, I'm bringing out the luggage, the bags, and putting them in her room to give her the hint.
Right.
It's time to start thinking about what you want to put in that thing on your floor. Because you're old enough to travel, that means you're old enough to pack. So travel on your own. But yeah, so she's pretty good about packing on her own now. But how about your kids? Do they pack their own bags when they travel? Like what kind of, do you trust them to do that? Are they gonna pack something that might get apprehended at border control? Like, yeah. So where are your kids with that? That's kind of our next speed round topic is, do your kids pack their own bags for travel?
I kind of got 50-50 here. My daughter does her own and has for quite some time, and usually is packed well before anybody else in the household has even thought about it.
Oh,
before we've gotten our suitcases down from the attic, she has the one that she keeps in her room all packed up. So she's very good about that, and probably has been like since high school for a long time. My son does not do his own at all. He doesn't, my husband packs for him and has always, and also puts out his clothes in the morning. And he's in charge of the boy and the boy clothes. So they've got their own thing going, whatever. I don't pack for either of them. But, so probably at some point that should change. But for now, it works.
Mm-hmm. Catherine, what about your kids?
We've gotten now to the point where they do pack their own bags, but they need a list. So I have to write them a list. So it's kind of an in-between state, where even my 15-year-old, she knows, but she still feels better if she has a list to work from. So, it's just a list that says like 3 pairs of underwear, 3 pairs of socks, bring a bathing suit, like that kind of thing. I'll say for her, I'll say, you'll need one, nice outfit to go to a restaurant. And whereas for my son, I would write down like collared shirt, and like not sports pants, like, because he wears like sweatpants style sports pants like every day of his life. So he and like when we went to Iceland with his choir, they were not allowed to wear those kind of pants, so he had to have jeans or like khakis, or I found some like nice black pants that were, like khaki style, but they were black. So those have come in handy because he just wore them for a band concert the other day because they had to wear black pants, and it specifically said no black jeans.
Oh God!
And I was hoping that I was like, well, I hope these other pants fit the bill because I'm not buying a new pair of pants for this concert. So
now, when you go on these trips, does the person in charge of them give the kids a list, or you have to make one up?
Usually they get a list. Like the skating trip that I'm on right now, we get a very detailed itinerary.
Yes.
And it includes a packing list for the kids.
Right.
A packing list overall, and then one for what they need to have in their bag each day, like in their skate bag,
Oh, nice.
Which warm-ups are they wearing, and, what tank top, and even what t-shirt, like, because they have to match all the time. So right. Yeah, so that's nice. They definitely provide that list and specify usually every day not only what to bring but what to wear for everything. So
that's helpful because then you don't have to do it.
Right. Yes, it's very handy, and I just
probably appreciates that more from the organization than from you. If you were telling her what to wear, it might not go over as well.
Yeah, probably not. But and I just check, at first it used to be that I would pack with her for these kind of trips, and now I can let her go and just have the list and do it. And then I may ask, do you have your skates? And as long as she has her skates, we can pretty much live with most everything. Although this time around, she needed laces for her skates, which I didn't find out until the last minute. And she actually she asked one of her coaches who was going to a sharpener who would have the laces to get her a set of laces, which was a good job. But then then we didn't end up seeing that coach prior to leaving. And so then she was panicking that she needed her laces and we weren't going to, we were going to be gone and how was she going to get her laces? And so then I put out the emergency call to all the parents in the skate club, not the team, but the club, and said, does anyone have these kind of laces? I need to buy them now. So, and that worked. So, lucky.
Well, that's good. Packing emergency solved.
Right. And then, when we're on the trip, there's two moms who they're called the locker room moms, or basically the chaperones, and they're with the skaters all the time. And they're constantly counting heads, and they count skate bags whenever they count heads. So,
good thing.
Whenever the bus gets loaded, how many skate bags are there? Because if you're missing...
Have you ever had to do that job?
No, that's by invitation only, and thank goodness I have not been invited to do that.
You are not sad to have been passed over.
No, I mean, they work so hard. They're with them. Sometimes they're with them for 12 or 14 hours in a row, and just dealing with 18 teenagers at once in a small confined room when tensions are high because they're competing and it's a hard job. So
you have to be resilient.
Yes, they do. My job is calling restaurants and
yes, that's hard enough.
Yes, ordering lots of food. So.
Well, we're all good at something.
That's right.
We all have our roles.
See, that would be a perfect job for Nicole, the ordering food.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm your gal. I know how to do that. Because I did not develop resilience in the kitchen. I just gave up. As soon as something went bad, I gave up.
You have found new areas in which to excel.
Yes. Well, speaking of new areas, we're going to wrap this topic up. And remember that you can hear a new speed round every Wednesday through Friday. Hi, we hope you're enjoying this episode of Parenting Roundabout. We're not one of those podcasts that's trying to sell you websites or mattresses or meal kits. I mean, we totally would, but no one's asked us yet.
There is, however, something you can do that costs you nothing, but will put a little change in our pockets. Listen to our podcast on the Radio Public app. Download the app to your iPhone or Android device and listen to Parenting Roundabout there, and we'll get paid for each listen. Plus a little more if you listen a lot.
We think you'll enjoy listening to all your podcasts on this app, but if you could at least listen to Parenting Roundabout there, we'd be very grateful. Now, back to the episode.
And move on to our next topic.
Move on to a new area of interest. Our Roundabout Roundup. We're going to bring you some of the things we have read or seen or used recently that we want to shout out and share with you. Mine is a site called SocialOomph, which I have recently been using to schedule the many, 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 many tweets I send out about our podcast. I have previously been a happy user of Hootsuite, but they recently limited the amount you could schedule ahead of time for free. Boo.
Oh, no.
So I've had to look around for other things, and I tried a couple of possibilities, and I'm really digging SocialOomph. If you have to schedule a lot of tweets, I recommend you check it out. Their paid plans are way more than I could afford, but their free plan seems to be working pretty well for me. I probably shouldn't say this because now, like Hootsuite, they will cut down on it. But for now, it's working out great. And they have something where you can save drafts of tweets and use them again. And they're like in a drop-down menu. So when you're using things again, you can just hit the menu, pick that one, and automatically send it out. It's really nice. Send it out or schedule it. So if you've never heard of that, I had never heard of it before I read it somewhere online, so go check it out. They have a nice service.
Cool.
They are bringing you those overnight tweets that you love so much from me.
Yeah, I often wonder when I'm up at midnight, wow, Terry's tweeting at 3 a.m.
SocialOomph is helping me out there, although I'm probably still awake at that time, but no. Schedule them all. So what are you sharing today, Nicole?
I feel like we've talked about this, so please note. Sorry. Doorbell rang.
All right, ask your dog what your dog wants to share today.
Actually, yeah, this should be her shtick because I'm going to be talking about a website about dogs and their bad behavior.
So she's objecting to your dog shaming that's going to go on?
Yes. So my cousin alerted me to a site called dogshaming.com, and it's basically owners of dogs who have very poorly behaved dogs or dogs who have misbehaved, and they publicly shame the dog by taking a photo of the dog and what the dog has done, and then has a little sign explaining what the dog has done wrong.
I want to see one from your dog, Nicole, that says, I barked all through my mom's podcast.
I actually submitted one yesterday.
What did she do?
So, she got into our office closet because she obviously smelled something in there that she thought was going to be a great treat to eat, and proceeded to literally dig her way into the closet, through the closet, and there was just stuff everywhere that she had dragged out of the closet and half eaten, chewed, paper, envelopes, bags, you name it. It was a disaster. So I took a photo and I, shamed her and I sent it in. And so hopefully she's not happy.
Did you cue her to bark through this thing?
No, right? The timing is perfect. Because I'm going to publicly shame her now for being a barking dog and being naughty and misbehaving while I'm trying to do this podcast. So anyway, it's so funny. It's called dogshaming.com. Check it out.
We will check that out and look for your pooch on there.
Look for Missy. Yeah.
Catherine, what are you shouting out today? And does it have any audio effects in the background that we need to know about?
No, not that I know about. Although I will say that for Christmas, I bought my son the Dog Rates book. That Twitter account, Dog Rates.
Oh, yes.
Where
yes.
it's really funny and cute pictures of dogs
cute.
And very clever captions. And then there's always a rating of the dog. And he came out with a book. So I bought that for my son and he enjoyed that quite a bit. But that wasn't my roundup item. I was going to just mention, speaking of tools like SocialOomph, for these skating trips, we have been using a service called GroupMe, which is for group texting, basically. Oh. So instead of trying to make sure you have everybody in a group, and sometimes you can only send to a certain number and it gets confusing, you can download this app called GroupMe, and then you can be in a certain group, with all the parents from your kid's team or a committee that you're in at your child's school or whatever it is. And
nice.
People can send messages that way. So that's
good.
Cute. Not cute.
Remind everybody involved that if they change their phone numbers, they have to let the person in charge of the GroupMe know, or let GroupMe know, so that whoever gets their phone number after them does not get those messages.
Yeah, but I don't know, because it's like an app that you join and you have a username. So I don't think it's going through your...
Oh, it's not going through your phone?
It's not going through your texts.
Okay. Oh,
it's
all right.
It's a separate app. So.
Okay. My husband kept getting messages from a group and he kept telling them he wasn't the person they were sending it to, and they got angry. So
yeah. No, this was I had to download the app and create a
it's a special app. Okay. Well, that's cool then.
It's a special app.
That seems like a nice idea. That would be very handy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it works pretty well, I think. And, because especially because right now our team is in Wichita, but another team that's part of our group is in Austria competing over there. Oh. So we can text each other and it's all still works. So, yeah.
Cool.
So there you go.
Well, those are some fun things to check out.
Yeah. And now for our final segment today, we're going to do a little shameless self-promotion and direct you to some things on our sites that we think you should take a look at. Terri, what do you have?
Well, once again, I have not written anything. I'm blaming the flu this week. I had a little bit of the flu. I took care of my daughter when she had the flu, and then I got the flu, so it's been sort of a lost week at our house here. But I did notice a while back that PlayerFM, which is one of the many, many, many online services you can use to listen to your podcasts, has us on a page called Best Parenting Podcasts. Thank you, PlayerFM. We will take that.
Whoa.
That is very nice. I don't know what their criterion was or if they have all their parenting podcasts there and just put that there to make people feel good. I don't know, but it looks like a shortish list. So, shout out to PlayerFM. Thank you very much. I also see that you periodically like our tweets in which I tag you on SocialOomph. So, thank you, PlayerFM, for noticing us. We were wondering if anybody out there was.
That's great.
Yeah.
Nicole, what do you have to mention?
Well, I'm doing a 2-for-1 because not only am I going to shout out something from me, but I'm also going to shout out something from Terri as well.
I did do something.
Yes, Terri. You did. Terri left me a lovely book review on the Brooks Publishing website. If you go to Brooks Publishing and look at my book, and there's some tabs, and if you click on the reviews, and you'll scroll down and see a lot of wonderful reviews, for which I'm ever so grateful. But in particular, check out Terri Morrow's review of my new book, Full Inclusion, or Inclusion in Action. I don't even know the title anymore. It's been that long.
Alrighty.
So thank you so much for that review. It was very, very, very well done, and I appreciate it. Something to be proud of. So check that out.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you.
And I am going to mention, I also don't have something new that I've written to promote. So I'm going to just mention our podcast Instagram, which our handle is PR Podcast. And most weekdays, I post a quote or two from our podcast of that day. So it's another home for the nice quote graphics that Terri makes. And
churns out like sausages.
And it's a lot of fun to go through and pick the ones that I think are going to resonate on Instagram and put them up there. So check that out.
So should I be on Instagram, you guys? Is everybody on Instagram now? Is that where it's happening?
It's fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Check it out.
My daughter left Facebook and went to Instagram, possibly so that she could be on something I was not on. So if I go on there, then she's going to have to switch to something else, I guess.
Check it out. There's lots of fun things to follow.
I keep seeing people linking to things, and it's in like these Instagram stories, which you can't seem to get unless you have the Instagram app and are presumably logged in. So I feel left out of the social media conversation.
And they disappear.
Catherine always has
they
Insta
disappear.
stories.
So I guess I got to get with it.
Yeah, I use the stories for things that are sort of silly that I don't need to keep.
Nicole Eridix says Facebook is over.
Yeah.
That's going on a quote graphic.
It's definitely over for our generation because now I feel like only my mother's generation uses it.
Maybe I'm more comfortable with that group. I don't know.
No.
Too many young people on Instagram.
You're too young.
I might say the wrong thing. People would laugh.
No, the young people are not on Instagram.
But where have the young people gone now?
Snapchat.
It's so complicated. Why does it have to be so complicated?
Instagram is for us now.
Is it? We've taken it over?
Yeah.
Because we are there now, the young people are not. This is
That's right.
One thing follows from another, I think.
They ran in droves.
Oh, that's, the enduring fun of being a mom is ruining things for your children. Something new? Let me try.
Can I follow you?
Let me post something to all your friends. I have these baby pictures. They're so cute.
Your kids
all right.
do not want to hear. Okay.
Take us out of here, Nicole.
Yes, well, that's it for this week's episode of Parenting Roundabout. We hope you enjoyed it and that you'll join us every week. You can listen to podcast episodes on parentingroundabout.com or download them from Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe so you get all of our podcasts and mini podcasts. You can also follow us on Twitter, where I am at Nicole Eridix. Catherine is at CHaleko, and Terri is at Mamatude. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at Roundabout Chat, and look for us on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, YouTube, and Instagram too. Best of all, stop by our podcast page at parentingroundabout.com and read recaps, find links on all the stories we mentioned, and talk back in the comments. Thanks to John Morin at johnjmorin.com for providing our in and out music, and I wish everyone a great week.